Join discord.gg/flatearth and enter a check-in room. Someone will come along and verify you to get involved in the conversation about our Earth.
You believe you live on a spinning space monkey ball?
Yeah, I live on a monkey ball.
What makes you believe
Oh,
that?
go ahead, Flash. Sorry.
No, I'm sorry. You go ahead. I'm cooking, so.
I was just going to make a joke about the spinning monkey ball. Super spinning monkey ball.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a dick, but like, I'm embarrassed on your behalf that you believe in that.
Okay.
Okay. So what makes you believe in it? Like, what's your number one thing? Like, okay, this is why I believe in it.
Number one thing is that's what I've been told my whole life.
Yeah, but they're lying to you, Rilo. It's a lie. You don't live in a sphere or whatever the fuck it is.
And
Well, I don't think that's the way you should approach someone. That we all used to believe it, so it ain't a thing that he believes it.
Rilo's different. He deserves
yeah.
double hate.
Yeah.
And also, it's like hard to believe that everyone on this like planet, every like person in power, is like all under the same lie. As I should say.
How much value does money have? Like a paper currency?
$1 for every dollar.
Why? Why is that the value? Because we all believe it is. It's not its actual value. It's a piece of paper with a bunch of numbers and pictures printed on it. Just because we all believe it, or a substantial number of people believe something, doesn't make it exactly true by that fault.
Nice. I was wondering where you were going with that, but that's exactly right.
And that's worldwide too. That's why I like to use that example.
Right, you don't need a lot of people in on the lie. You just need to perpetrate the lie and everybody believe it, like we all.
You just need ignorant people below those who know the lie. That's all you need to make the whole lie work.
There you go. The more you know.
Yeah, nobody's saying that your teacher at school is lying to you, like, if you go.
Yeah, or like even these people at NASA, everything is compartmentalized, and it's something I learned in the military. Like, you only need to know about the job you're doing and exactly what you're doing. That's all they're going to teach you. You don't need to know about all the other parts and how they're made to go to what you're doing, or what, X, Y, and Z person is doing. None of that matters to you. Focus on your job. You're just working on that job, and all the information related to that is all you're going to know. And I mean, the same happens in the civilian world, or with anything, like especially NASA. Everyone that works at NASA, they're just working on their job. They're only educated on their specific job and what's required for it, and that is it. That's how they keep the lie going with everything. Yeah, and you can use that for any kind of lie. You can use it for financial lies, the flat earth lie, whatever kind of conspiracy or, the quote conspiracy, what, you want to think of, any idea. Usually that's how they get away with it, is you just compartmentalize everything.
Even jobs are that way. Your surveying jobs are completely different from your astrophysicist jobs. The people that are astrophysicists never go to space. They're the ones teaching people that go to space about space. Like outer space isn't real. It can't be. It's a natural law violator. But just saying, like that's how they compartmentalize jobs also. So it's super easy to perpetuate this lie and everybody believe it. Because you only believe it. It's like a religion. You have never been presented with any fundamental, key point evidence to support the globe, ever. They say that the Earth is curving into a ball. Well, you don't get to see the curvature ever. You just have to believe that it is.
And the high priest of science even said we can't see the curve of the Earth, Neil deGrasse Tyson himself has come out and said, "Oh, you can't see the curve at all."
Well, he's like your priest that you get on TV, like the 700 Club or something.
Yeah, exactly. Him and Bill Nye the Lion guy.
Yeah. Nice.
We
Anyways,
we
yeah,
all
you have
believe
to
in the
believe
globe,
that
man.
the Earth is. Yeah, you can't prove that the Earth is moving. You can't witness it. You don't feel it, but you just believe it is. Kind of messed up. It's like the weirdest religion ever invented.
Well, it started out as a pagan sun worship religion. Whether you go
Yeah.
back to the Bible and the Tower of Babel, or if you just go back to Hermes Trismegistus, the whole thing is a pagan sun worship religion. And Copernicus gave homage to Hermes Trismegistus on the revolution of the heavenly spheres, and then Newton actually translated the Emerald Tablet that Hermes Trismegistus supposedly wrote, and both of them were homage to the sun, to the power of the sun, the invisible force. So it's all sun pagan worship, and that's all it is. And today, money and indoctrination keeps it together.
Okay, Rilo, I asked you like your number one thing that makes you believe in the globe, and the thing you said is because it's a lie so big, like how could they get away with it? Something along those lines. So how is that something that makes you believe in a thing? Just simply because so many people believe it? Is that the reason to believe something?
I think that is a good reason to believe something.
So all the kids believe in Santa. Is that a good reason to believe in Santa?
Or because they're not educated.
I mean,
Where all the
Wait,
scientists
Santa's not
and
real?
things. Fuck you, shut up.
My bad.
Can science be bought? If a scientist goes in tomorrow and says, "I don't believe in this anymore," will the scientist continue to be able to work there, or will the scientists lose their job and lose their wife or husband and lose their kids and not be able to send their kids to school anymore? So, can science be bought? Yes or no?
Or about the job, I don't know. I don't really know how that works, but I doubt they would lose their children and their wife for a belief.
If an astrophysicist, astronomer at George Mason University, PhD in astronomy, goes in tomorrow and tells his boss he doesn't believe in the outer space anymore, you think he's going to be able to keep his job? Yes or no?
I don't know. I don't really work there.
Okay, so then you don't know much about the world, do you?
I'm still growing.
Okay. So do you think peer pressure has anything to do with a person's belief system?
I mean, yeah, that is like peer pressure is a big thing. But yes.
Yeah. So you believe in herd mentality?
Yeah.
Okay. So you basically just answered the question right there with your last two answers. People don't want to rock the boat. You know why people don't rock the boat? They depend on the boat staying afloat so they can get paid. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're on a boat and you're doing just fine, you're getting your weekly check or monthly check or however you get paid, you don't want to rock that boat because you might get thrown off by yourself and the boat continues on and you're drowning behind it. Is that a possibility?
It could be.
Okay. So if you have no evidence for your spinning space ball in the vacuum of outer space, no empirical and physical evidence for your spinning space ball, and every time that you say, well, here's my evidence, and we say no, how many times do we have to tell you, that you don't live on a spinning space ball? Now, I understand that it takes more than an afternoon or a few hours to overcome a lifetime of indoctrination. That's cool. Called Stockholm Syndrome, cognitive dissonance, ego, pride, indoctrination. Cool, man. But somewhere along the line, you're going to want to seek truth in your life. And the spinning space ball is scientifically impossible. It violates Newton's third law of motion, second law of thermodynamics, inverse square law of light, the law of physics. The law of water, the physics of water, the physics of light. There is no evidence that photons, a massless object called a photon, exists. A photon is light. There is no evidence that light travels, other than Einstein saying it traveled at 186,200 miles per second, constant. That's why it's called c in the equation. And so he came up with, so he could justify his cosmology that he came up with in February of 1917, because he had to have something that was constant that went through the universe that was called light, and it had to travel. Do you see where the indoctrination is happening in your life?
Not really.
You don't see that indoctrination in your life.
Can you define that?
Indoctrination?
Yeah.
When did you go to kindergarten? Age 5?
Yeah.
Okay. When you walked into your classroom, was there something in there that was a ball tilted just a little bit that spun around by your teacher's desk?
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So that's called indoctrination.
Yeah.
In the literal sense of the word is when a doctrine of something is being inserted upon you. So you're being given a way to think by somebody else, and it's encroaching upon your mind, and it encompasses your very being, essentially. So somebody uploads their beliefs on you, and then you walk around and you recite them to other people as if they are your own, but they're really somebody else's. That's why we have all these globetrotters coming in here, and they say things as if they're teaching us, but we already have these things ourselves. Yeah. Because all of us heard it. All of us went to school and sat in class and raised our hand and gave the answer. Oh, yeah, we are revolving around with all these planets alongside us. I know the name of this planet and this and that. We gave these answers, but were they really our answers, or somebody gave them to us? So that's indoctrination.
Yeah, okay. May I ask, has anyone joined this species, being like a troll, and then now they're a proper flat earther? Or...
Yeah, Donkey Kong is one that comes to mind. Was recently converted. Like in a couple of days, he was like, okay, laughing it off, just completely spiraling, making loud noises, being really obnoxious. And he kind of saw his errors with Chris, Jedi, kind of teaching him the way. Yeah, he kind of calmed down and made more sense of things. Was quite comical to see.
Rilo, have you ever experienced yourself, not in a textbook or a Hollywood movie, have you ever stepped outside your place that you live, driven around, and experienced Earth curvature for yourself? Have you ever seen Earth curvature? What's that? Say again. I'm sorry.
I haven't.
Okay. If you've never experienced Earth curvature, then this is a serious question. And if you want to think about it for a while, that's fine. You don't have to answer me. If you've never experienced or observed or seen Earth curvature for yourself, because we're told we live on a ball of 3,959 miles, radius times 2 diameter times pi, you get to 24,901 miles circumference. Geometry says you have 8 inches per mile squared drop over distance. You said you've never ever experienced that in your life. Then why do you believe? Now, this is a serious question. Why do you believe it exists if you've never experienced it yourself?
All right.
And when you first came to the server, your answer would have been different, right? You would have said that I have seen curvature, maybe? Because you've been here for a while. I see 2022 was the first time you came here.
I've been here earlier, but then I left and then rejoined a few times.
So I assume when you first came here, your answer would be, yeah, I have seen curvature. Boats go over the horizon, the sun sets, right? Maybe those were your answers.
I could not remember, to be honest.
Here's what happens. I think this is what happens. I think outside of external event, my external event was what happened 39 months ago, and I realized it was all a joke. Outside of an external event, which maybe shakes you in a different area, if somebody asks me that, have I ever seen something that the world tells me is so, but I've never experienced myself, I would be in your position right now going, I've never seen it myself ever, but I've been taught that it's that way. Now, that's a cognitive dissonance, Stockholm syndrome, indoctrination battle you may be having either now or in the future. But that's a battle that only you can decide if you're going to win or lose it. And you should always go by what you observe. You don't marry somebody because somebody else told you that they were a nice and a very attractive person. You want to get to know them yourself through observation, experience, and things like that. So, what you basically done is said, okay, I'm going to go ahead and marry this person because I was told that they were a nice person. Never met them, nothing like that. But I'm going to marry them anyway because I was told this. You never experienced it, you never observed it, but you're going into it anyway. It makes no sense, my friend.
Those things that I do observe is when the big thing that everyone says, and the same with me, is space, right? Is when I look up and I see everything else moving, it just makes me think that we're the one moving.
Mm-hmm. Because you were taught that, correct?
Yeah.
Is it possible it's the other way around? In physics, there's something called a coordinate system. A coordinate system can either be the Earth going around the sun or the sun going around the Earth. You were taught the coordinate system is that the Earth goes around the sun, and that's all you've been allowed to know. Is it possible that they lied to you and the coordinate system is is the sun around or above the Earth? Is that possible?
I mean, it could be, but I don't really know.
Okay. Now, obviously, you've never been given the opportunity to think that way through education and entertainment. Is that correct?
I've never really thought about much anyway.
Cool. And me neither until this thing happened 39 months ago, and I experienced the fact that I was lied to about virology. I had to realize virology lied to me, and then it was only then that I realized cosmology lied to me. So you may have not reached that point where you think anybody's lied to you yet, and I get that. It's cool, man. But I had to have that experience of knowing politicians sucked, and I had to get the idea that virology I was lied to. I got a whammy. And so the third thing was the shape of the Earth or cosmology. It was relatively easy. But once you've realized you've been lied to, not maybe once or twice, then it's a lot easier to make the change. I'm not saying obviously, forgive me. It appears that you haven't gone through the process of thinking you've been lied to your whole life about much. Is that correct?
I'd say so.
Okay. And that's fair. A lot of people don't want to go. I mean, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your wife, your husband may lie to you. Blah blah blah. That's cool. Maybe a friend will lie to you, but you never thought the whole education and entertainment system has lied to you, and it's a tough pill to swallow.
Like the thing is I think no matter what will be said here, like at this time of my life, I'm not really going to look into it or think the Earth is flat. But like I think maybe in like 10 years or 20, I might get into the like start thinking about where I live, who's lying and whatnot. Like I'm still kind of young, and it's not really anything that interests me at the moment.
Can we ask you, are you under or over 20?
I'm 16.
Okay. Yes, you do have a lot. You do have a lot. A lot of time. And if you did, as a 16-year-old, you're probably a sophomore or junior in high school. If you went into school, your science class tomorrow, not tomorrow, but in a month or two or three, and went, hey, that ball teacher by your desk, I don't believe it anymore. Not only would he or she be surprised, every one of your friends would be surprised, and every one of your family members would be surprised, and they would laugh at you. And I know 16-year-olds don't like to be laughed at, and that's okay.
I think there's someone in this Discord who's a flat earther that's my age as well, and he was saying that that's what happened to him.
Yeah.
So he hasn't really banged up with anyone before after that. That's what he said in this Discord.
Yeah, I mean, you will lose people. You will lose friends and you will lose family. And what you'll need to do sometime, if you so decide to look at what reality shows you and not what education and entertainment tells you, is once you realize that, you will know that you will lose some people. You will lose some friends and you will lose some family. Maybe you don't want to lose your family yet. That's cool. But you'll realize that you'll gain a whole new family. Now, the whole new family may not be the one down the street that you used to bum around with, but you'll gain a whole new family, hopefully online, and you'll find some people over time in person that agree with you what you're talking about, and then it makes it a lot better. Now, as a 16-year-old who's maybe wanting to get married in 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, you're going to come to a situation where you may not want to marry somebody if you're a flat earther who believes in the globe. And so that always creates a problem.
It's also very confusing when you said that you are really not interested in this topic, but you're somehow here and you're engaged in the conversation. So it kind of makes me wonder whether that's a contradiction on your part as far as being cognizant of it, or you're like just subconsciously not realizing that.
What's it called? Soggy Bunning Snags told me to join the VC. So I've been here for a while, and I like having conversations, but it's not something I'm gonna go deep into.
Sure, but like if you really weren't interested at all, you wouldn't really have stayed here for long, would you?
I mean, that is true. But
there is something that kind of tugs at you, isn't there, about the topic?
I know you worry about, like being made fun of and having this, stigma attached to you, but your flat Earth journey, you said you're 16 and you worry about whether it's too early or you want some time. Like that can be just you and that journey, and just keep it to yourself. That's what I did, when I first discovered it. I didn't talk to anyone really about it. I just said, all right, this is interesting. I'm gonna just do some stuff on my own and figure it out for myself. And when I came to my own conclusion, I was like, cool. If I find other people that think similar to me, we'll talk about it. But if they don't openly, then I may just not bring it up,
Alright. Well, I'm gonna go now anyway. Thanks for the conversation.
Yeah.
Cheers, mate.
Was he crying?
I don't think so.
He was.
I doubt it. But...
like he was crying, bro. Like straight up. I don't know.
I don't think so. I think he was laughing. It's fine, man.
What is your profession?
See, old friend, I brought more soldiers than you did.